Good evening, professionals. We are in our 7th Corporate Law webinar series discussing about SEBI LODR. In part 1 and part 2, we are now discussing about obligation on listing of NCDs and NCRPS. Part 4 of LODR, we covered in detail about the obligation on listing of specified securities. More importantly, your equity shares and convertible securities, be it your convertible preference shares or convertible debentures, and an obligation on listing of NCDs and NCRPS. In part 5 of chapter LODR, we are discussing about the obligation on listing of NCDs and NCRPS. We'll be concluding the provisions of NCDs and NCRPS today, friends. Just a quick recap of last week's session. We started with NCDs and NCRPS compliance with regard to intimation to be given having a bearing on the performance or having a price sensitive information on the stock exchange, those disclosures to be made to the exchange, which has a bearing on the NCDs, NCRPS. And we discussed about annual report, contents of annual report, financial results under regulation 52, more in line with your regulation 33, similar to your equity. What are the disclosures? How you will be disseminating the information to stock exchange, within what time you have to publish the financial results. The predominant difference between regulation 33 and 52, we observe that there it is quarterly financial results for equity instruments. When it comes to debentures, it is half-yearly results. We concluded the session with maintenance of asset cover, 100% asset cover, and where exemption is granted, and also credit rating, how frequently the rating has to be reviewed by the credit rating agencies which are registered with both. We start with regulation 55 and today we are going to continue with regulation 56. From 56 till 62 today we are going to discuss about the various intimations which are being made. Number 1 to debenture trustees, number 2 to stock exchange, of course with regard to these two instruments. Number 3 to the intimation to the NCD holders and the NCRPS holders, and then we are going to discuss about the functional maintenance, functional website maintenance, and we are going to conclude with the website maintenance. In between, we will also study the structure and terms of NCDs and NCRPS, and when it varies, what are the prerequisites, which are the authorities or the regulators where you have to seek approval when there is a change in the structure or terms of NCDs and NCRPS. Thanks to Aishwarya for this detailed presentation. These are various legends used in today's presentation where the various authorities will be dealing with while it comes to prior approval to be obtained for variation in the structure or terms of NCDs or NCRPS, RBI, RD, Reserve Bank of India, Regional Director, SC Stock Exchange, and the two instruments are NCD non-convertible debentures and NCRPS non-convertible preference shares. Today's agenda will be to discuss about the documentation and intimation to trustees, various submissions to stock exchange, information to holders of NCDs and NCRPS, the structure of NCDs and NCRPS, a case law on the subject, how important it is to comply with this particular chapter of NCDs and NCRPS. We will be seeing in that case law where this particular regulation is touched upon, record date, fixation of record date, and within what time you have to intimate the stock exchange once you fix the record date, so that the debenture holders are aware about the cash flow as to when they are going to get their interest payment or principal repayment. Terms of NCDs and NCRPS, transfer of securities, you have to take reference to regulation 40, which we have already discussed, and maintenance of functional website. Listed entities shall promptly forward the documents to debenture trustees. 1. A copy of the annual report. 2. A certificate from the statutory auditor of the listed entity with regard to the fund utilization. Fund utilization with regard to any project specific, it shall be during the implementation period of the project. Say for example, there is a construction project and you have milestone accomplishment. Then with regard to each phase, you may have to report on the fund utilization. Phase 1, this is the fund which you have collected, and this is what is actually utilized. And phase 2, what is the actual collected and what is actually utilized. So you have to give that fund utilization statement with regard to project specific details, and with regard to working capital or your general corporate purpose financing requirement, you have to submit that particular statement on an annual basis at the end of each financial year, which means this has to be made on an annual basis when it is not project specific. When it is a project specific, it shall be during the implementation phase of the project. And this particular annual submission of your fund utilization shall continue. It is a continuous obligation for all the listed entities till when? Until you completely utilize the funds or the purpose for which the funds have been utilized or completely achieved. For example, you have procured that particular fund for the purpose of your capital adequacy requirement. And if it is for this financial year ended 31st March, and for that CRAR requirement, if the purpose is achieved, then the reporting requirement stops till the end of this financial year. If it is going to be ongoing for every year capital adequacy requirement, then you have to continuously report, and it is a subsisting obligation. A copy of all notices, resolution circulars relating to the new issue of NCDs shall be sent to the debenture trustee promptly at the time when you are sending it to the debenture holder or the shareholder concerned. And with regard to the meetings which are being held for NCDs or NCRPS, at the same time when you are communicating to the holders, you may have to intimate the trustees when it comes to debentures. And with regard to any revision in the rating, or if there is any default in payment of interest or asset maintenance, we have already observed that it is 100%, and when there is going to be any failure to create a charge on the asset, these necessary intimations shall be made to the debenture trustee, because it is their obligation to protect the interest of the debenture holders. And a half-yearly certificate regarding maintenance of 100% cover. We have already discussed that this is not applicable in the case of banks or financial institutions, NBFCs, which are registered with RBI, or in case of bonds where it is secured by a government guarantee, then this 100% security maintenance is not applicable. These details can be sent to the debenture trustee through email, provided they have given consent for sending it through email for this purpose. And listed entity shall forward to the debenture trustee any such information as sought by them, because we are aware that debenture trustee regulation 1993 clearly mandates SEBI to do an audit of the debenture trustee. So when the trustee is being audited by SEBI and when they require the records, then it is obligatory on the part of listed entity to share all these records and to cooperate with the debenture trustee to provide the clarification as necessarily sought by the regulators. And also when they need access to relevant books of accounts in the interest of this debenture holders or any subject matter relating to NCDs, then the company cannot say no. They are bound to share these details with the debenture trustee. 56, we discussed about debenture trustees notification. 57 is the notification to stock exchange. A certificate has to be submitted within 2 days of the interest or principal both becoming due, stating that the company has made timely payment of interest or repayment of principal as the case may be. And an undertaking shall be submitted on an annual basis, confirming that whatever documents they have to submit to the debenture trustee in compliance with the transaction document, which is your trust deed, or in compliance with the SEBI ILDS, your issue and listing of debt securities regulation, have been complied with. We are going to see a sample undertaking in our next slide. And any other information in the manner and format as prescribed by SEBI from time to time, these details shall be disseminated to stock exchange. Friends, it is imperative for us to appreciate the fact that when it comes to debentures or NCRPS, the compliance with regard to the disclosure or obligation with regard to the submissions are very minimal as compared to your equity instruments, because there you have lot of regulations and lot of periodical compliance requirements, but here it is very minimal. and companies have to only comply with certain prior intimations and certain post intimations and documents to stock exchange. An undertaking is thus provided by HDFC in compliance with 57(2). They say that in compliance with the trust deed and in compliance with ILDS regulations, the company has shared all the documents with the debenture trustee on a yearly basis. For the year ended March 18, this is what they have submitted. They have confirmed that they have submitted all the quarterly compliance reports with the debenture trustee. Friends, if you read the SEBI regulations, the onus on the listed entity with regard to the compliance report, there is a big list confirming compliance with regard to your interest due date, previous due date, and the next interest due date. Likewise, your principal, the previous due date for principal repayment, the next due date for principal repayment, the outstanding amount with regard to your debentures, how much amount you have issued, and your outstanding with regard to your debentures. All these details you may have to disclose, and more importantly, you have to provide your asset maintenance, your credit rating, whether you have submitted on-time financial results to the stock exchange, whether you have published the financial results within 2 days after it is so disseminated to stock exchange once it is approved by the board, and whether the financial results accompany your limited review report in the case of unaudited results, and in the case of audited results whether it is accompanied by your audited report. And you also need to submit your DRR, your debenture redemption reserve, which is applicable to the company, whether adequate DRR is maintained by the company, whether asset cover, the security cover backing is there for this particular NCDs which you have created, and if there is going to be any failure in repayment of your interest or principal, all these compliance requirements have to be disclosed in your periodical compliance report, which is what HDFC has confirmed. And you also need to confirm compliance to your corporate governance requirement, maintenance of website, credit rating, all these Chapter 5 LODR regulation provisions, together with various intimations which you have to make to your debenture trustee or stock exchange or to your debenture holders as the case may be, including your appointment of compliance officer and RTA when it comes to transfer of securities. And certificate confirming creation of debenture redemption reserve. You have to confirm over and above your compliance report that adequate DRR was created for the year ended, and payment of interest confirmation within the due date. We already observed that in regulation 57(1), you have to confirm the payment of interest within the due date. So this particular disclosure is provided by HDFC, confirming that all these intimations were adequately made to the debenture trustee. 58 talks about your information to your debenture holders or NCRPS. Soft copy of annual reports could be sent when the shareholder or debenture holder has email ID for this purpose, or when they have specifically asked for this particular annual report to be sent through e-copy instead of hard copy. Where there is a specific request from a shareholder or debenture holder that the annual report shall be sent only through a hard copy, or where they do not have email address registered for this purpose, then the company is obligated to send the hard copy of the annual report. As specified in your section 136 is the reference drawn in regulation 58. So 136, we are aware, under Companies Act specifies that the financial statement should also include your CFS, auditor's report, board's report, and AOC 3, which talks about your salient features of these documents. So all these have to be annexed to your financial statements, and this is the right of every member to receive a copy of this report, and hence 58 draws reference to this particular charging section. And half-yearly communication as specified in 52.4 and 5. During the previous part 1 webinar, we discussed that 52.4 talks about disclosures to be made along with your financial results, where we took a sample of Aditya Birla report and we saw the various disclosures about your debt service coverage ratio, interest coverage ratio, your various interest payment dates, due dates, all those details as provided in your 52.4 disclosure together with 52.5, where there is a certificate from debenture trustee confirming that they have read the contents of 52.4 as provided by the company, which also includes your abridged financial statement of your PAT, PBT, and also your maintenance of asset cover. So, this particular certificate, whether half yearly intimation is made, shall be confirmed under this particular regulation 58. LE shall send the notice of all meetings of the holders of NCDs and NCRPS, specifically providing the fact that proxy appointment is also available. So proxy, according to section 105, where a person can appoint or nominate on his behalf, that person being a member on his behalf to vote and attend a meeting on his behalf. And for this purpose, friends, you have to read this together with Rule 19 of Companies, Meetings of Board Powers, Management and Administration Rules, where it clearly says that NCDs and NCRPS, the maximum number for which they can represent as proxy. They cannot be holding it as a representative for the entire chunk of shareholding of the company. Maximum is not exceeding 50 holders of NCDs or NCRPS as the case may be, or 10% of the holders of your NCDs or NCRPS of the total issue capital of the company. So this limit as applicable for your equity shareholders shall also apply for your NCDs or NCRPS, and this proxy form shall clearly indicate that they have every right to vote either for or against the resolution. Next comes regulation 59, where if there is any structural modification to the terms, you have signed a term sheet clearly stating that your interest is 10% of debentures. If there is going to be a variation in the rate of interest, say 12%, then you have to certainly seek approval of stock exchange. And prior to this particular approval, all the other routine approvals which you will normally take, like your board approval or debenture trustees approval, or whatever provisions you have to comply with in Companies Act with regard to seeking approval from your debenture holders or having this particular resolution passed in your general meeting, be it AGM or EGM, all these formalities have to be completed and then you take specific approval from stock exchange. Why? Because you already submitted your term sheet with your information memorandum to stock exchange clearly stating the term as 10%. When there is a change, and this change is a material modification because it affects the structure of your NCDs. Likewise, if there is going to be any change in the conversion terms, for example, the conversion of debenture holders partly convertible is changed as fully convertible or vice versa, then it necessarily warrants this intimation to stock exchange and seeking approval. Redemption. The redemption date. I am postponing the redemption date due to COVID because of financial crunch. Instead of this particular March 2020, I have sought necessary approval from board, debenture holders, and in compliance with the provisions of Companies Act from the debenture trustees in line with your SEBI debenture trustees regulation 93, and all these formalities once completed, please take approval of stock exchange is the intimation set under regulation 59. Similarly, with regard to your NCRPS as well, if there is going to be any change in your dividend, conversion, redemption or otherwise, please take prior approval. This particular case law touches about this particular importance of complying with regulation 59 in addition to compliance with regulation 11 and in addition to compliance with various other provisions of Companies Act and other applicable regulations of the company, because you have to take specific approval from various regulators before you go for an approval for sanctioning the scheme of arrangement. So when it comes to corporate restructuring, we are aware and we have discussed in our corporate law webinar series that a company shall take approval from various authorities, including your ROC, RD, SEBI, RBI, if it is going to be a sectoral, financial sectoral company, or income tax authorities, before you have this particular scheme approved. So this particular case law is with regard to demerger of investment division from East West Pipeline Limited to Sika Ports 85 Terminals Limited. And here the parties filed a petition before NCLT under 232 of Companies Act, providing directions for convening the meeting of shareholders and debenture holders, because in this particular transferee company, the underlying instruments also included the NCDs and NCRPS, and tribunal directed to order separate meeting, and the company also unanimously obtained approval from the shareholders and creditors with regard to this particular scheme of arrangement, and the tribunal, as per the provisions of the Act, sought necessary approval from various authorities, including your Regional Director, ROC, Income Tax Authority, SEBI and Stock Exchange. On receipt of this particular notice from the tribunal in the instant case being your NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, which has the authority to approve the matters with regard to any corporate restructuring, addressed the petitioner company seeking clarification on certain matters, which also included matters regarding compliance with regard to Regulation 11 and Regulation 59. Hence, Regulation 59 assumes significance, because here we are dealing with the compliance of the provisions of various regulations for listing of NCDs and NCRPS. Regulation 11 we have already discussed in our chapter 1, where we discussed about this particular prior approval for any scheme or arrangement. It has to be certainly in accordance with the regulations and the bylaws of the stock exchange. So the scheme of arrangement should not in any way violate, override or limit the provisions or requirements of law or requirements of stock exchange. And the petitioner company replied confirming compliance to Regulation 11 and Regulation 59 with regard to structure of NCDs and NCRPS, stating that the company had taken necessary approval from board, from the debenture trustees, conformed with the provisions of Companies Act, seeking approval from various debenture holders, and also took prior approval from stock exchange, and hence the company affirmed compliance by an affidavit stating that the company has complied with Regulation 59. NSE thus gave its no objection in terms of Regulation 59, filed its letter dated 4 July 2018, affirming compliance, and thus placed on record the fact that this company can go ahead with this particular proposal because they have complied with the provisions of Regulation 59. And 5th July, petitioner company's petition seeking sanction of scheme was admitted by the tribunal, and on 10th July, SEBI stated that it did not have any further comments further to NSE's no objection provided on 4th July, and RD also made its representation on 14 June, for which the petitioner company confirmed that they will undertake necessary compliance with regard to the observations made by Regional Director, filed its letter dated 25th June 2018. As there were no other representations from any other authority like your income tax, it was held by the tribunal that this particular scheme was genuine and bona fide, and thus sanctioned the scheme in the interest of various stakeholders. Regulation 60. Fixation of record date. Listed entity will fix record date for determining what? For determining the actual list of debenture holders, so that they can accordingly distribute or disburse the interest payment or the principal component, as the case may be. And for this fixation of record date, at least 7 days, working days in advance, the listed entity shall give necessary intimation to the stock exchange, and also they shall specify the purpose of the record date. For what purpose this particular record date is being given, whether it is for the purpose of your dividend in the case of NCRPS, or whether it is going to be for the purpose of issue of bonus shares in the case of NCRPS, or whether it is going to be for the purpose of interest in the case of NCDs, or principal repayment in the case of debenture holders, as the case may be. In terms of NCDs and NCRPS, LE shall ensure timely payment of interest, no doubt, and there is a stumbling block for these companies to declare dividend if there is any default in dispersing the interest or redemption component. And it shall not be applicable in the case of unsecured debt securities which are issued for the purpose of meeting your CAR requirement, your capital adequacy requirement. And once declared, listed entity is not empowered to cancel or annul its interest or dividend. And when there is an unclaimed interest or dividend, as rightfully mentioned in 125, where it is unclaimed dividend or unclaimed interest, those unclaimed portions shall be transferred to your IEPF account. And if there is going to be any redemption, the company cannot do suo motu choice of ascertaining to whom this particular redemption shall be distributed. So it shall be done either on a pro rata basis or by way of lot. If there is going to be out of a whole chunk, only a portion for which the redemption is going to happen, so that the other debenture holders are well protected. In the interest of the holders only, this particular lot basis is clearly mandated under Regulation 61. Also, it draws reference to Regulation 40, where it says that the company shall certainly comply with Regulation 40 with regard to your transfer of securities and the procedural requirements as set out in Schedule 7. We have already discussed in detail in our previous webinars about Regulation 40, where the board has the authority to approve this particular transfer. However, since in listed entities the volume is huge, they have the power to delegate it to any committee or to the compliance officer or to RTA, and these delegated authorities shall once in every fortnight approve this particular transfer, and this particular report on share transfer or debenture transfer shall be placed in every quarter of the board meeting. So this Regulation 40 shall certainly apply to your debenture holders or your NCRPS as well. Further to that, there is a latest SEBI circular on 31st July, where we have already noted the fact that securities shall be held in demat form with the depository. This is a precondition for transfer, but SEBI has received various representations from investors that they are deprived from participating in buyback or delisting of securities just because the securities are not held in demat form because of the compulsory demat status as provided by SEBI. And SEBI has considered these representations and thus clarified why this recent circular that the shareholders holding securities in physical form are allowed to tender the shares through open offer or buyback through open offer through this tender mode, or exit route in the case of delisting process, and such tender of course shall be in line with the regulations. And if that is the case, then even if it is a physical instrument that they shall be allowed to participate in all these offers and they should not be deprived of this particular benefit. So SEBI has granted this facility by this SEBI circular. Functional website, similar to your equity instruments where there is a functional website, there is a big list for equity and convertible instruments, but with regard to debenture holders and NCRPS, you have to just comply with these 8 set of lists as provided in Regulation 62. What are they? The business information, the financial details, and the contact details of the person who is responsible for handling the investor grievances for this particular company, email address for grievance redressal, name of the debenture trustees with full details, and various notices, letters, and dissemination of information which you make to your NCDs or NCRPS holders, and all compliance reports which you file, be it your 57.1 or 57.2 or any other intimation that you make to stock exchange or to your debenture trustee holders in line with SEBI LODR regulations. All these reports have to be provided in your website, and information with regard to default in payment of interest or repayment of your principal, or failure to create any charge on the assets, or if there is any revision in the credit rating, all these details have to be mandatorily provided on the website. And the above details could also be issued by way of a press release. And just like your equity instrument, where we have seen that you have to ensure that these details are always available intact on your website. For Regulation 62 also, you have to ensure that the website is updated and it is correct with all these factual details in place at any given point of time. So it is a continuous obligation for the listed entity. With this, we are concluding chapter 5 of your LODR regulation with regard to obligation on listing of entities and NCRPS. Friends, we will continue with LODR provisions in our next Wednesday webinar as well. Take care, stay safe.